Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Let's begin today's daily quiz with question number 1 on your screen here. Consider the following statements with regards to a census exercise in India. Number 1. Census is conducted under the provisions of the Census Act of 1948. Second, the decennial census is conducted by the Office of Registrar General and Census Commissioner under Ministry of Home Affairs. Third, the information collected during the population census is so confidential that it is not even accessible to the courts of law. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer is D. All these three given statements with regards to a census exercise in India are correct. The census exercise in India is conducted under the provisions given in the Census Act of 1948, and it is the responsibility of the Office of Registrar General and Census Commissioner to conduct the census. This office works under the Ministry of Home Affairs in the Union government. Also, another important point here is that the data collected under the population census is kept extremely confidential. So much so that under the provisions of this act, it is not even accessible to the courts of law. The reason why we are discussing this question is because the union government has further pushed back the 2021 census to 2023-24. As you know, because of the pandemic, the census exercise, which was to be conducted in 2020-21, was delayed considerably, and it has been delayed even further. The Government of India has now said that the deadline for freezing administrative boundaries has been extended. Census can only begin a few months after the administrative boundaries are frozen. And that is why in 2022 also there is a possibility that the census shall not begin. The census exercise shall be preceded by house listing, and thus the deadline for jurisdictional changes being extended is a big indication that the census will be delayed considerably now. As you would remember, in March of this year itself, the government had notified multiple changes to the census rules, allowing the citizens themselves to self-enumerate in the census and the National Population Register. Next, question number 2. Consider the following statements with regards to a National Pension System, NPS. Number 1. The NPS is being implemented and regulated by the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Second, the overseas citizen of India and the persons of Indian origin, card holders, and Hindu undivided families are not eligible for opening the NPS accounts. Third, the withdrawals are permitted from the Tier 1 account as per the needs of the subscriber as and when claimed. Which of these is incorrect? Do remember you have to choose the incorrect code here. Now, if you look at these statements one by one, you would see the second statement was originally true when the system was first introduced in 2015, but recently there has been a change. The change is that now, as per the Government of India, the overseas citizen of India can actually apply for having an NPS account, but only the Tier 1 account. So they can have a NPS account now as long as they only get access to the Tier 1 account. So second statement now is wrong as per the current provisions. The third statement also is wrong because, as you know, under NPS you have two types of accounts, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 account is the one from where you cannot withdraw money prematurely. Tier 2 account is the one from where withdrawals are permitted as and when the subscriber or the person who has the account needs the money. For having a Tier 2 account, it is compulsory that you first have to have a Tier 1 account. So first statement is correct, second and third are wrong. Since you had to choose the incorrect statements, the correct answer here is B, 2 and 3 only. The reason why we are discussing this question is because two state governments ruled by non-BJP parties, that is Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, have walked out of the NPS. This has not happened all of a sudden. These states have been very vocal about being against with the NPS because they want the old pension system to be introduced back again. The Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh governments have now stopped contributing to the National Pension Fund, which is being managed by the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. In the earlier videos, we had discussed the main differences between the new pension system and the old pension system. Next, question number 3. The new development bank, formerly referred to as the BRICS Development Bank, established by the BRICS states, has 4 more members apart from the 5 founding members of the BRICS. Which are these 4? Is it Bangladesh, Egypt, UAE and Uruguay? Is it Italy, Israel, Japan, and Germany? Is it Bangladesh, Lebanon, Singapore, and Australia? Or is it Nigeria, Mexico, Fiji, or Kuwait? You have to choose apart from these five founding members, what are the other nations that are right now members of the BRICS Bank? The correct answer here is A. It is Bangladesh, Egypt, UAE, and Uruguay who are the members of the BRICS Bank right now, apart from the five founding members. So there are a total of 9 nations which are part of the BRICS Bank right now. The reason why we're discussing this question is not because it is in the news, but because of this interesting questionnaire that the Hindu publishes almost every single day. So this is a kind of a quiz that the Hindu newspaper publishes where they give the answers the next day. In today's quiz, the heading is that the SCO was founded on this day in 2001, and that is why they have given multiple questions on important international groupings. One of these questions is question number 4, which we actually discussed just now. The question number 4 is about the new development bank. I would advise you to go through the other questions as well, find out the answers, and you can check the answers the next day, specifically whenever these questions are with regards to the UPSC topics. Next, question number 4. Consider the following statements with regards to the periodic labor force survey. Number 1. It was launched by the National Statistical Office. Second, the National Statistical Office uses rotational panel sampling design in urban areas to assess the labor force participation rate. Third, the labor force participation rate is a percentage of persons in the labor force, that is working or seeking work or available for work in the population. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. All these three given statements about the PLFS, Periodic Labor Force Survey, are correct. This is a survey which has findings about the unemployment and employment rates across the country, and it is published by the National Statistical Office. This office uses the rotational panel sampling design so that we can ensure that we are not repeating the respondents in that particular survey. The definition of the labor force participation rate as given in the third statement also is absolutely correct. The reason why we are discussing this question is because of a slightly good news in the Hindu newspaper today, according to which unemployment has decreased if you look at the latest labor force survey data. The data shows that the rate of joblessness has fell to 4.2% as compared to 4.8% earlier. The PLFS has been released by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. This means that only 4.2% of adults who are looking for jobs could not get the work in rural and urban areas in 2020-21. In rural areas, the unemployment rate was lower, that is 3.3%, while in urban areas it was higher at 6.7%. The article has a lot of important details, including the definition of the labor force participation rate and the kind of technique that is used in this survey. Next, question number 5 is a previous year question from 2021. With reference to Madanapalle of Andhra Pradesh, which one of the following statements is correct? Number 1. Pingali Venkaiah designed the tricolor Indian national flag here. Second, Pitabhai Sitaramaiah led the Quit India movement of Andhra region from here. Third, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore translated the national anthem from Bengali to English here. Or fourth, Madam Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott set up the headquarters of the Theosophical Society here. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is C. This is a place where Gurudev, that is Rabindranath Tagore, actually translated India's national anthem from Bengali to English. As you know, the original version of our national anthem was written in Bengali, which was later translated to other languages. It was in 1919 that Rabindranath Tagore stayed at the Theosophical College in Madanapalle in Andhra Pradesh, and it is here that he translated his Bengali poem or the national anthem that we have, Jan Gana Man, into the English language. The English version was called the Morning Song of India. Next, we have a fact of the day, and today we will be discussing about the significance of the holy relics of Gautam Buddha as they have been sent on exposition to Mongolia. Now it is in the news because 4 holy relics of Lord Buddha from the National Museum are now in Mongolia for an 11-day trip as part of the Mongolian Buddha Purnima celebrations. These 4 Buddha relics are originally kept at India's National Museum. Together, they are called the Kapila Vastu relics, and they are from a site in Bihar believed to be the ancient city of Kapila Vastu and were discovered in 1898. So, as per the long held beliefs of the Buddhists, Lord Buddha attained salvation at the age of 80 in Kushinagar, which is right now a part of UP. It was the Mallas of Kushinagar who cremated him, and the relics from the funeral pyre of Gautam Buddha were collected and were divided into 8 shares of erecting stupas over the sacred relics. These stupas erected over the bodily relics are the earliest surviving Buddhist shrines. It is said that it was Emperor Ashok who opened up 7 of the 8 stupas and collected a major portion of the relics for the enshrinement within 84,000 stupas that he built across the country. These 4 relics that have been sent to Mongolia were found from a casket in 1898 at the stupa site in Piprahava, which is identified as the ancient site of Kapilavastu. There was an inscription on the casket lid that referred to the relics of Buddha and his community. During this visit to Mongolia for 11 days, these relics will be given the status of the state guest of Mongolia. They have been taken in the same climate control case as they are kept originally at the National Museum in New Delhi. Do remember that these holy relics in 2015 were placed under the double A category of antiques and art treasures, meaning that they should not be ordinarily taken out of the country for exhibition because they are extremely delicate and they are extremely old. But it was because of this special request put in by the Mongolian government that the Indian government has accepted and they have made this particular exemption. This is everything that you needed to know about Gautam Buddha holy relics and their trip to Mongolia on the occasion of the Mongolian Buddha Purnima celebrations. Thank you so much for watching today's daily quiz video. Have a good day ahead.